Hello everyone. Yes, we're going to make this cute hat that I made. Um, I basically started designing a hat. This is my first one. And they're just little miniature hats. Somebody already purchased this one and it'll be going off to its new owner. So I decided I should share it with you. And this is the first one I made. And I've used just a, what is this called? A straw hat, a little miniature one. Last year I made some on my own where I made everything, but this year I'm using this, and the reason I'm using them is because I actually found them like at a thrift store or something, I don't know, over a dozen, so I thought I'd use them this year. Um, so this is my first one, and then this one is my second one, and this one I decided to try shaping the hat. So this is what it looks like, and this is how I reshaped it. As I looked at vintage looking hats or spring hats, I felt like I didn't, this looked more like a Mexican hat, which, you know, is no problem with Mexican hats. I'm actually Hispanic, so I've seen them a lot, but I wanted to make something that was shaped differently. So this one, I'll tell you how I did it. Let me show you. And a lot of the things I used in this piece, okay, if you guys have questions, feel free to just comment and I will try and answer any questions that I see. If I miss a question, just repeat it. The other thing that happens sometimes at night, my Wi-Fi goes out and I'll probably hang around, try to come back on. But if I'm not on within 10 minutes or so, then that means I'm done, basically. And I craft a lot at night because I'm just busy during the day. This one right here, you see, it's small. Let me get a ruler. Let's turn it around to see the measurement. This one, so that if you're looking for hats and you want to know about the same size I have, what does that say? 2 and, I don't know, almost 3 inches, 2 and 3/4. No, almost 3 inches there. So it's about 2 and 3/4, almost 3 inches. And then the head size I was measuring inside because I did make a listing, was making a listing. I made a listing for this one. So this one's actually in my shop already. This peach one is about 1.5 inches. So I have a thimble. I actually sanded this vintage one down a little bit so it fit better. And I'm using that as my stand. I was looking around for different things. Okay, so let me tell you a little bit about some of the things that I used in this. Now, some of the things I used are actually in my Etsy shop. So as you know, some of you know, I have an Etsy shop where these designs that I make, I have them I place them in my Etsy shop to sell, and I have customers who do that. And then I have other of you who will buy my supplies. So this is for you who want to actually make one yourself. You might want to know what I used. You don't have to use my stuff, but you can use your own things also, and I'll actually show you an example of that. So this is in the flower section. It is a peach. This is a vintage rose that I have. Okay, I told you guys that it might mess up, and it just did that. Let me see if I can get it turned around back to my table. Let's see. Sorry guys, I don't know, it just totally just turned off for some reason. And that's what happens sometimes. I feel like the Wi-Fi, they must do something at night. But actually it's been happening during the day too, so you know, that's those things that happen. So this is in the flower section, I have this vintage. Okay, yeah, I'm going to show you all the directions on actually. So if you hang on, I'm going to show you in detail how I make this. But right now I'm just going to show some of you who might want to um, as to while everybody's coming on, I don't like to keep the just saying hi, 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 but more tell you a little bit more about this. So you will be getting some detailed directions on how I made this. So this is a, actually, as I said, this is a rose that I have in my Etsy shop. It is a vintage rose, and I have like 15 for I don't know how much, but I do have the rose buds in there. You'll see that later. I do have these miniature little roses like these in my shop too. I'm not sure what colors I have left. It's actually one that I'm thinking of restocking. And here's another one right there. And then this leaf right here, this is actually a vintage leaf prawn. I have these in my shop also. They are pretty much just like, that's what I call them. They're in the flower section also, as well as, let me see. Oh yeah. So right in here, you'll see this. I just put a teeny tiny bit of pink in there, and these are some like pip berries. And I do have some of these, not these exact ones, but these will go in my shop later because I do have some that I need to list, but I haven't listed them. These are longer than the ones that you see in there. The ones that are in my shop, look, these are a mess, but they look like these ones. These are in my shop. And I used these ones on the pink cat. So here's the pink cat. I'll put the pink cat on my stand while I'm showing you this one. What else? Oh yeah, this is lace right here that I have. I have this ruffle lace in my shop. I'll show you that when I'm making it. What else? I think that's close to it. I don't have, I had this in my shop, this lace at one time, and I took it out so I can use it for my own crafting because I like to use different types of laces. And this piece right here is not in my shop, but it is also a vintage pearl, but you can make something like this, and I'll explain it to you when I'm teaching you how to make it. Okay, so this is what we're going to make. This is the pink one that's already sold. And oh yeah, I wanted to show you these because these are some of the flowers. A lot of the flowers I used in this pink one. Not all of them, but some of the, like here, this one's one of them here and here. Um, this one right here and this one right here. These all came from this little bunch right here. And it is a vintage piece. And actually these were like attached to something new. They're actually old, made in China. And it actually is almost like, I don't know if they were like for candle decorations or what, but there's a whole bunch of them that were all there but they were glued on, so that's why you see a little glue. And so I'll probably put this in my shop because I do have quite a few, but they're just gorgeous little flowers. Look at that. So this little bunch, it comes just in a circle like this, and you can use it just like this, or I'm using it by taking them apart. So they were brand new. As you could see, it had a tag on it still. And then, but they are vintage. How vintage, I don't know. I just know that the quality of them is a nice quality, pretty good quality if you look closely at them. So these later on, I don't know, probably a month, it'll take me in my shop. And that I use a lot of that in this. So, okay. So we have about 5 people here. When I do lives, I've been doing mostly lives, and I really just do them sporadically when I feel like like it took me a good hour just to straighten up my counter here because I make such messes when I am crafting. Okay, so we're going to start. When I start, I usually think about my base. What do I want as a base? And if you look at this hat, there is a base, and the base is green right here. Now I could have used leaves, but I decided to use this lace. This lace right here, I used to have it in my shop, so some of you who are my followers might have some who have been around for a while and used to buy my crafty lots, which I don't make as many big ones anymore. I have small ones, crafty lots in my Etsy shop, but I don't have big ones. I start with the base. So look at my base. It's this, and this is just a piece of lace. And I just cut off a little here like this, and this is how I started it. And oh, I was going to tell you about the hats too. So how did I reshape this hat? I reshaped it by getting out my steamer. I got my steamer and I first flattened the top, and then while it was still warm, I kind of made sure that it was stretched up high, and then I just steamed the areas so that I could shape it. You could see it's totally a different shape. And this one looks bigger, but some of them are they're different sizes. I did forget to mention that to you guys. So that's how I did it. It worked. So I do have a steamer that I use a lot of times to steam the lace and things. I'm like, it was a lifesaver once I found that. So what do I do with this piece? I use my technique I've shown you guys, the olive technique for making flowers, but I'm using that to make the base. And I'm not making an entire flower with it. I'm just making a little piece so that it ruffles up. See, I'm taking my pin. So I use my technique that I came up with for a lot of things. And this is one of the ways I might use it. Um, and as you can see, it just looks like a mess. And that's okay. Messes are good. When I do this, you can use a piece of wire if you want, or you can use the string like I am. I'm going to use my string. I'm always my famous string. It's still the same string from when I started 3 years ago, and it is a very large roll of crocheting thread. That's what it is. Um, I'm a person who uses what I have, and you'll see that that these miniature things, they take a long time. I am planning to actually do this to some larger hats in my future. I just haven't made the time. I just decided I need to do something for Easter, and I haven't really done a whole lot other than my dresses, which my dresses took off a lot. I do have a lot of little dresses in my Etsy shop. And I said, I felt like doing something different than dresses because I've been doing dresses. So there I went. Look, it's just a mess. It almost looks like a butterfly. You can see you can make a butterfly with this if you use the right type of lace. And I just did that to it. This is my base. And for that hat, I had really pushed one side down and I had pushed one side up. If you notice on this, I can still reshape it if I want. Oh, you know what? Before I finish this base, I forgot about the edging. We need to do the edging. Oh, that's the only thing I didn't get out. I forgot the edging. Let me see if I have a piece over here. I might have to go and get some from my stash. My stash. I know I had a piece. Okay, you guys, forgive me. I'll leave you looking at these beautiful hats while I grab that. I thought I was totally prepared, and I'm not. See, this is a... Hello, happy Tuesday nights, right? Okay, so here I have this is, I call it in my shop, I call this Chinese gimp, and I really like this stuff. There's different types. This type I've found very versatile, and this is basically what I used here. Now, what I want you to see is I want you to look very close at it. And what I did, look at my edge, how clean and beautiful it looks. You see that? So this is up to you. Some people would just put it and run it along the edge like this, which it can definitely do that. You can definitely do that, but I'm going to show you what I did with that one. Instead of running it like that, I ran it like this, right in half. And this is pretty thin, so remember, this is detailed work because we're working with miniatures. And as you can see, when it folds, let me see if I can focus that. There you go. So you can see how when it folds over, I fold it over, and then these two meet here when it's folded over, and it gives it like that little edge. all the way around. So you can choose how you do this, and it would be easier to work with, say, a wider one. But I like the 1/4 inch because I like to work with the miniatures a lot, and these go well if I use these on my little dresses. So normally, if I was not doing this live, I would show you a little bit of this and I'd pause. And I might still do that. I might not like do it all because it does take a while to do the entire thing. We'll see. We'll see how fast it goes. Okay, so that's my start. So you can see it's working with these small things. It takes time, and you can do it yourself, but realize that what I do is I pull it along the edge when I'm going to do it. I pull it tight and snug so it kind of folds over. I get it started without any glue. And then when I put the glue on, I did a little bit. I like to show you these little details that I do because sometimes just coming up with those little tricks and tips really help you to get something done. I know that when I learn something new and I'm getting ideas from somebody, I might make it my own, but sometimes I realize that other people who have done it first before me know quite a bit. Okay, let me try and change this camera angle a little bit for you guys. I keep on pulling this way towards the edge. Let's change that just a tiny bit. There you go. All right, so now I'm going to do this side again. I'm just going to kind of pull it over without any glue, stretch it down. And this is how I figured it out. Now, I've never seen anyone do this before. The idea came to me when I was using these pieces for my little miniature dresses, and I found different ways to use it. And so this would go, as you saw, it will mold just on top of the edge also, but I really like the idea of making it go all the way around. See? And yep, it takes a while. That's why if you look in my shop, I do you know, I'm trying to make a living out of what I'm doing. This is basically our extra income right now. That's kind of helping us not to get in the hole because we had a big change in our life. We moved from one state to another. And all right. Now I'm going to try every once in a while to look at to see if you comment, okay? And I saw a comment a while ago. Somebody was saying they want to be able to make some hats for as a gift for some ladies. I think she said her gardening club. I don't remember your name. Because it's just on this thing, I can't figure out how to make the comments stay for me to look at them. I still haven't figured that out. Who knows how to do it? I don't know. And sometimes, okay, so this is really close. This piece right here has a little bit of tape on it, so I'm going to cut that piece off. And glue that end. Make sure it's nice and down. Now usually the edges here this is the part that I'm going to choose to make the place where I put all the flowers. So I always put I meet at about the same place because I'm going to end up covering it up with the flowers. So I still do it neatly, but because who knows, when I'm designing things, I could change my mind anytime. But I decided since I still have all the supplies for this, and I tried to use some of the things that were in my shop. so that I can actually still show you guys. Hi, hello. Yes, I'm live. I haven't been doing a lot of tutorials. The only tutorials I've been making are I just made those dresses that you see. I did make tutorials for them, but they are only now going to those people who purchase one of the dresses kits. When you purchase a dress kit, then you actually get a detailed tutorial. I still have in my mind I might turn them into 5-minute tutorials, which would go to everyone. And I didn't see your name, but I did see that you said that you just found me and you were making some of my flowers. Yes, if you have questions about my flowers, if you saw me how I showed you some of my Liz technique on the flower making, look what a mess I made. And this is actually okay, like I said, because as you can see, it kind of most of it gets covered up. So, but I'm going to do a little more gluing on that, or maybe I could finish the gluing later. Usually when I put a little glue and I have to touch it with my hand, I wait like a few seconds and then I go and it doesn't burn me. Here we go. I'll go through and check it later too to make sure. So a lot of times so now you can see it has a little ridge. So that's how I did my ridge. And a wider one would make it come up higher, but I like these little thin ones that I have in my shop. Like I said, I've used them on my little miniature dolls. Okay, let me push you over there. Let me put this here so that you guys can see it somehow while I'm making it. There you go. Okay, so now we got that done because I keep on forgetting the order of things. And here's the green piece that we did earlier. And again, you decide where you're going to put it, how you're going to put it. This is how I put it. You can put it this way if you want more of it to stick out on top. Or we can put it this way. So that's something you decide. Let's see. I think it has a lot on top, so I'm going to go ahead and leave it so these come a little down. So, and usually when I put something like this on, I put a little glue in the center only, because I'm going to be placing a lot of things around this, but it is my base, and you can see it in here. Let me see if I can tilt this a little, so you can see it in there, the greens, but you can't really see it the way it is. So look, so that actually looks pretty too, just by itself, but I kind of go more elaborate. And I just put a little glue because I'm going to be going behind it. I'm going to be going on top of it. I'm going to be going from this side maybe. So I want to be able to access that. So the first thing I did is I got this vintage, I think this one looks a little bigger. I got one of these vintage, that's Anna Hyde. Hello, Anna. Thank you. You're welcome. She says, thank you for my inspiration. Hello. Okay, so what I did with this one, as you can see, if you look at the difference between this one and that one, this one looks a little bigger and more open. That's because I like to manipulate things that I have, and I like to make them different purposes for them, different ways that I use them. And if you notice, this keeps it looking like a bud. And so I actually removed this part right here all the way around. So that's what you learn from me is when I make things, I don't just like I do a lot of detailed work and I make changes to things. And as you can see, it made it a little bit fluffier now. So you can see the difference between this one and this one. It looks a lot bigger, huh? And I did the same. I used these flowers in my last peach wreath. Actually, I could have just taken that off. Look, that's probably better. But you need to realize when you start removing this stuff. Thank you, Anna. Yeah, and these flowers right here, they are gorgeous, and I use them in my I'm putting glue because I want to make sure that it doesn't fall off. Okay, I'm still gonna glue it. The reason I'm putting I wanted to make sure it got all the way around is then I stuck it right dab in the middle of that base. Now, realize that when I first designed this, I'm trying different things the whole time. You're getting it that I actually finished designing it, and this is how I did it. After much deliberation, I made those decisions. So I'm just gonna hold that down. So those are the two main things. I usually start when I'm designing something. If I decide to choose a flower, I choose the biggest flower first. That's how I do it. I have no training. Everything I have done, I've either learned from somebody on YouTube, or I've just taught myself, or it comes naturally to me. That's so and I like to say that sometimes because I don't know any better. Oh, thank you. She's surprised. She's saying, "Oh my, that I made a large one." Yes, these little buds, I have them like 15 in a set in my Etsy shop, and you're going to see even more with this because you can see it in more than one on there. Okay, so this is how I made that biggest one, and then I started adding from there. I said, "Well, what's the next thing?" I know I wanted some of these prawns. I used them in the pink hat, which is right here. I should leave it so you guys could see it. I used it in the pink hat, so now I want to use it. No, this is not it. Although a lot of the things I'm using in these, um, they are in my Etsy shop already. So you can actually buy a lot of this stuff in my Etsy shop. So I'll tell you as I go. I kind of set that in the beginning because some people were, I was waiting for everybody to come on who might want to come on. And so these are the prawns. They look, let's see. This is a dirty bag of prawns. It's a vintage piece. I take them out of the package, and I will send them to you in a new package because they're dusty, but they're vintage. You can see there's about, I think there's a dozen there, and this is what I have in my Etsy shop. Yeah, the reason I'm showing you is because I used to do a lot of tutorials, and now, and that's all I did when I first started, and then I started like needing to turn it into a business because of my, my life changes in my life, and pretty much. So as you can see, this is how I added them. You see that? Okay. Let me see. So I knew I wanted those, but actually these I do not have in my, they're the prawns. I just found a couple of them sitting in the bag of my my messy stash, and these ones are glittery, but I don't have those ones in my shop, but there are the exact same ones. And I think I might use the glittery ones this time. So as you can see here, this one's using the plain ones there. They look beautiful and satiny, but I think I'm going to use the glittery one this time, just so I can make it look a little bit different for my customers. This one will also be going into my Etsy shop. Okay. Thank you. Yes, and you can come back and look at this video later if you really want more details, but this is so that I make I design all kinds of things and I put them in my Etsy shop. And now I also am trying to be a little better at also um, making sure you know that I have things available in my shop. So when you put these on, you decide. I mean, you make a decision on I decided on mine that I put one, two, and then I put this pearl in the middle. So to me, that was three. Let me see if I have another one of the glittery ones over here. I only had one. Well, that's fine. We'll use this one. And that's cute. It's kind of facing the opposite way. So as you can see, I'm going behind this and I'm placing them behind that lace. And I'm trying not to glue anything down permanently, like making everything stick together. So I'm trying not to let like this lace stick to here because I'm still going to add more stuff. And since these are on a wire, you can actually form them afterwards also. Okay, the next thing I put on there. So what I'm doing is I'm working from the back kind of forward. So I have this. Now this, you can make something like this by yourself. These are plastic beads. It, it's a, what are these called? I can't remember what they're called. Um, yes, these can become Christmas ornaments, just like my dresses. They can be Christmas ornaments. You could turn them into brooches. Um, you can do just decorate a dollhouse. These, because they do have regular hats, they can be used for a doll, um, things like that. So this is the one I use. This is actually a vintage piece. I bought them along when I purchased a bulk amount of these when I found them. And these are all vintage. I purchased them at the same time. They just didn't have very many, so I never put them in my shop. But you can make something like this. These are just plastic pearl beads, really small ones. And this would be the same size that I use around my crown, probably a 6 millimeter or less. I don't know exactly, but you would just put it on a wire and then you can do the same thing. I'm going to show you that I did. What did I use? Okay. I'm looking for a pen. So what I do is I use any pen and I just wrapped it around the pen because it's wire. See? Actually, the one I used was probably smaller because the circles look smaller. So now I was going to use it like that, and I'm going to place it in here. You can always come back later and tighten it up. If you see, there's that one. It's right there. So I wanted to put it kind of sort of in the middle. So I think about when I'm putting the wires on, I like to use the wires because I like to manipulate them when I'm doing stuff. So I kind of twist them in like a circle so that there's more, so that the glue can actually attach to more surface, not just a little piece. And then I attach it. Right now I'm attaching it to the hat, like just against the hat. And then after I'm done decorating later on, I will then glue on top of it and the lace will be attached to that. And that's so that all the mess that you're making of the glue gets covered up. But it's also available for you to still manipulate and design. So as you can see a little bit there, I'm putting it against the hat. And I do like to show you detail because I want you to be successful. And yours will not come out exactly like mine. And like this one, I could tell I'm going to need to curl that again later. But I'm not going to take the time now because I'm trying to show you what I did. Then the next thing I think I decided, I added these white little flowers. 1, 2, and I don't know what inventory I have left in my shop because I have been selling them and I didn't buy more because these little flowers were not selling a lot. I find that sometimes they sell a lot. Oh, you think they're 4 millimeter beads? Yes, they can be. They're little. I don't make do a lot of bead making, but you can also find little spurts like this. What are they called? I can't remember what they're called, but you can find them. Oh gosh. Oh, I think I might have cut that too small, but That's okay. So now I'm going to get these two ready because so now you can after I put the main stuff in, I just keep on experimenting. If you could see, I placed so here's the big one, and then there's a little one here. I placed one here, like about here, and I placed one over here. And we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to put something similar. And then when I placed them on top of the lace, not behind it anymore. So the only thing behind the lace are these three pieces we just put on there. And this next piece is going to go on top of the lace, but I'm going to hide it. They're faux pearls. Yes, they're little acrylic faux pearls on the bead, because I think that glass would probably be a little heavy, but I would think you could even use like the seed beads if they look pretty enough. You can use whatever you want. And I might look for some to put in my shop, because usually what I find, excuse me, I'm going to take a drink of water. So many times if I'm designing with something that I have in my stash, even though it's vintage, sometimes you can find a new type of an alternative to that. So I think they do have some, like these are vintage pip berries, but there are plenty of new ones. But I love working with vintage pieces, and I'll be using a lot of those in my let me see if I have this, get the idea of what I did. You can see. So as you can see, you can make this look any way you want with those. Where's the other white one? Here it is. So again, oh, on one of them I actually removed this piece, the leaf. This is just a leaf. So on some of these types of flowers, and they have leaves that are white, and some of them were green. I chose the white ones. And again, I might just, I think this one was stuck. I think I'm going to go ahead and cut the whole thing off on this one, because I think I just attached it like deep in, like in here. I cannot think about what. So some of you, if we're talking and we make comments, you can look in the comments to see what other people are saying. And they make recommendations of where they've found some of those types of beads right now. Okay, so that's what I did. And then I added, I'm going to show you the other thing that I did here. Okay. So as you can see, I'm just building, and I'm putting the biggest things first, and then I'll be filling in with the little things. Now I'm taking this one apart again, and I'm going to show you the next thing I used it for. Oh, the little straw hats. No, as I said, I actually found them in at a thrift store, but you can find the little straw hats in, probably just look on Amazon or Hobby Lobby, or to see if they have any, because I've seen them places. I just don't like paying for them. And so I found these, like the bag or something, for a couple of bucks. So I bought them. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take these three pieces. There's on this beautiful rose that looks vintage, there's three pieces. I'm going to take those pieces and actually make one flower with them, each one. So we're going to have, so I'm going to fold this so that they're kind of staggered. The big one, I felt like I needed to put a tiny bit of glue on the inside, just a little dab, and then fold it. Okay, you see that? I'm known to make flowers out of anything, from any piece of fabric, but this time I was thinking about making my own flowers and putting them on here, but I decided that I wanted to use some things that I had in my shop so that I can share with you guys the craft, and at the same time make it attainable for some of you who don't get all the flower making. And so I took the bigger one and I placed it here on this side. So let me see. I actually placed it behind the green. See, there's the green lace. I placed it behind it. Okay. So this one's going to go here, peeking out behind the green lace. So I'm just showing you what I did, but there is not a right way to do these things. There's not a wrong way to do them. Using the things you have, what you need to realize is I'm giving you ideas. You can actually just use what you have at home. And I put it, there's another orange or peach colored that I put in there that now doesn't that just look like a flower, right? This looks like there's a flower in there. And then the same thing with the next one, but I put another one and I put it up here. Okay, and this one's a little more open, so it doesn't look like, it looks like I left it open. So let's fold this like this. We're going to do the same thing, just a little dab on the inside. So I manipulate things in the same types of items. So now this is what it looks like. And I'm going to stick it in there like that, open in here. Let's see. I'm going to see where I placed it. Did I place it? So this one I placed on the underside. Oh, thank you. So basically, I found, when I found the hats, I found about a dozen of them. And so I'll be making a few of these with those hats. And I found that the straw hats, you can reshape them. So we'll have to look for some. Or I actually do, the last year when I made them, I made my own hats. And, you know, you can make a hat using a ribbon spool. So instead of throwing away the ribbon spool, look at it like if it's a hat and remove the top piece, and then you just kind of cut it out and you'll see that you can cover it and it'll look just like a hat. So see there? So now I have the peach on this side, the peach on this side, the peach in the middle of the two white flowers. Okay, so it's, again, not going to look exactly, and I don't think I used this last one, but you can if you want. I just thought it was already enough. And I like to work, when I work with things, I like to work in groups of 3. So with that thought in mind, there is, if you see, there's 3 orange, 1, 2, 3. I counted this as 3 in my mind, in my visual mind design. 1, 2, and 3. I call that 3. And now there's 2 white flowers, and I ended up making a third one, and I'll show you how I made that one. I have this little lace, and I recently put it in my shop because I like thin, small laces. I can use them for so many things. And I use it in the pink hat along the edge. And then this, remember, see this little trim, the same trim, I used it, but on top instead of around it. So you can see how it changes the look of it. And this one looks bigger also, this hat, because I made that edge. This hat, I didn't want it to be really big. So this is the same lace, and I have pink, white, cream. I don't know what, I think there's a Christmas color like green. So all I did is I took a piece of this lace. Let me show you the flower we're going to make. It's right there. Let's see, let me go make it a little farther, and so you guys can see it. You can see next to this white flower there is a piece of a lace flower. Show you how easy that is to make. Take a piece of the lace. I don't know, there's a little bit of glue on that. All right, and when I did it, I folded it in half. Just because it's hard to work with, I just worked with it this way, folded it in half. Okay, and then kind of like my puff flowers that I showed you how to roll them, that's all we're going to do. Now it's going to be a very loose roll. I'm not going to do it like really tight roll. I'm going to make it kind of loose. Gosh, I'm going to go back and read all your comments right now. One of you was saying that used to make these in the 80s. Yes, these types, making these straw hats and decorating them is not a new thing. The only new part is because I'm doing it my way. And so my way is always unique, right? Because each crafter is unique. So, and I try to teach you, you don't have to be exactly like me. You can be a little different. And then after I rolled it, you can see it looks cute. It looks like a tight rose. I wanted it to look a little bit wider. So I just cut some of it off like this because I want it to look a little bit puffier, not as tight. That's what I wanted. You could have left it just like that. Yes, there used to be hats everywhere. So these ones right now, my focus when I'm designing now is I realize that there is a whole community of people who make doll houses and like what we do, like we like shabby chic pretty things. And I'm starting to learn a little bit more about that, like those people who do that. So this one might be somebody I think, and I'm not 100% sure yet because I'm learning about the sizing for dollhouse decorations. But this one is like probably a 1/12 size. So I just stuck it in there. Okay. Now, as you can see, it's already beautiful already, but I did add a little bit more and I'll show you what I added. Now, I added some of these types of things and I added, these are so cheap. You can find a bunch of them. I'm going to show you the bunch I have. I have a few of them at Hobby Lobby, and I think in the flower section they have them. And they may not have as big a variety as I have, but that's what these are. They sell these ones. These might even be from Hobby Lobby. Yeah, these are from Hobby Lobby, his and hers. These are the size they carry. But there's also these really small ones. And I have them in white, pink. And these are not in my shop. They're just my stash. I love red, so I have some red ones and lavender ones. And I'm using them myself just to add that little extra touch to this. I love the way these look. They look like little pearls. And these are really, the reason they're in the flower section is because these are like a bridal flower stamen. So if you make a flower, they use them, as a stamen. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to bunch them together, a couple of them, trying to stagger the sizes so they're not all exactly the same size. This one has a bunch of, three of them, so there would be six. I don't know if I used that many here. I think I only used four right there, but this time it's going to be six. And I'm going to find a place where I want to put it. Okay. So then I'll go in. This is why I don't glue everything down like permanently right away, because I want to find a spot where I want to put these. And I think I'm going to stick these in here. Right in there. It's going to go under the lace. And I'm going to put a glob of glue on them, because I will come back still and I'll add more glue where I think it's needed. And usually when I make these types of things, I don't have that much of a difficulty. So now you can leave them like that. You can try to separate them more if you want before the glue dries. Ooh, yeah, she just said that she wants to get the stamen. Now, can you see I'm opened them up a little bit, and now can you see what they look like now? They're pretty. You see how they look like little pearls, and they're so inexpensive to use. She said she was thinking about the mini stamens to use alcohol ink on them. If she gets one color, she can make them all kinds of colors. Yes. And they look so cute in these miniature decor here. Oh, shabby chic, I don't think it's ever completely gone away. There's just those die-hard people who we just keep on and on. I keep on and on. You know, there's I like I work with fabrics and I call my stuff bohemian, shabby chic, you know, all kinds of different things. So I'll make sure that they're kind of like different heights when you're doing them. That one's too low. Okay, close. It's not cooperating. Okay. And then I kind of put them in, twist them. Now, where did I put these again? I actually don't think I used more in this one, but we're going to use some more. I really like this size. They are kind of big, but they look like some. So right now, what I'm doing is I'm finding a spot to place them. And I think I'm just going to place them in the opposite spot. It looks like there's a little pocket in there. And shabby chic. Yep. Bohemian. That's why you see me. I make a lot of tattered things. I love the tattered rag things, but then I like to make them look elegant. You know, I use rags and tatters and stuff, and I do things to them, and I use vintage things and new things, and I buy things that are new that look vintage. So as you can see, when I stuck them in, they were all in a little group just sticking down here, and I kind of hold it down in the area where I glued, and then I kind of move them around, and you can see how they open up. So this one does look a little different than that one, right? And that's all a-okay. All okay. Okay, so now since we put a little white, I at the end decided to add on this one a little pink, but I think this time I'm going to choose these almost lavender ones. Now, these ones are vintage, and when you get, if you've purchased them, I have several people who have purchased them, and I still have a few. I'm out of the lightest pink, but they are in the mixed lots. There's a couple in the mixed lots. If you look at them, I'll have mixed colors. And so they look like this. They have like this little, sometimes the little things come off, like the leaf comes undone because these are vintage. Um, Sometimes some of the little pip berries are have a little crack on them, and it doesn't bother me because I love vintage things. So I don't want to use my scissors, so I'm going to use my. Yeah, somebody was saying that with the stamens, you can also, like, you know how I made this, you can make it with the stamen and with wire and just wrap the wire. And then this, like, this is wrapped, the green wrapped, somebody wrapped this stamen up, and that's what this is. These are like the same stamens like these, but they're actually wrapped. So they put 3 here, and then they came down and wrapped the wire, and then they put one of these leaves, and then they put a little stamen, and then they wrapped the wire. And so you can, she's saying you can do that with the stamen also if you want to do that. Now the thing is that I think it's easier to just buy them made, but really, like when I first started, I couldn't afford to buy anything, so I became very creative. A lot of the creativity you see in me, I gathered because I was actually had to be so frugal because I couldn't afford anything. So now this one has a little bit of pink. I'm going to figure out a place I want to put this. And it stands. So I'm going to see if I can find a spot in here. So again, I just fill around, like where's the best place to put it, and it can go there. And remember, the wire can bend. So I see that I have a spot there. I usually put the glue on the actual wire. So working with the wired stuff is like nice because you can, so I can actually make it come really far over this way if I want. See that? Oh, it came that way, and then it has the green leaf sticking out here a little tiny bit there. So I'm going to put a little bit of this color in there. Okay, so really I'm very close to the end of this. You know what I forgot? I forgot to put the band around it, but it doesn't matter. It looks beautiful, and I'll probably still add it. Let me show it to you because I know it's getting late and some of you might want to go. Let me show you this. For on this one, you guys, nobody reminded me that I forgot that whole piece. I added this lace right here, which is this lace, And then I added this ribbon around here, which it should be around here. I know I cut it, but it probably got lost in all this mess. Where did you go, ribbon? I'll cut another piece because I happen to have it right here. Okay. So I do want to show you this though, because I like to show you what I have to do to make it work, to make it look like that. I like to give you guys an idea. Okay. So what I did was, because I wanted it to wrap all the way around here. See, like that. Actually, this hat is a different shape than that other one was. Okay. So if you make a mistake, you forget to do something, you can add more later. So this is what I had already. I did this before. I did the other parts I just showed you on that hat, but you can certainly do it after, right? So if it has difficulty molding, then you need to cut in this little area here. I noticed right now I cut for that other hat, I cut all the way up here, but I actually think I don't need to cut that far so that it sits better on my piece. So there we go. The reason why is because I want it to go lower, because I want to be able to fit this on top of it like that. See? So I'm not going to finish this for you in front of you. I'm going to finish up the flowers just so you guys can see. This is not a hard thing. I used this ridge as my edge and I put it on there, attached it with glue. Then I came over and I added this on top with glue. You guys could figure that part out, right? But you might not have this lace, you might have a different lace. So here's a different lace that might work. Or you may not want the lace at all, because look how beautiful that looks without any added lace. It looks beautiful. So here's a different lace, similar lace. And what I do is I put it on there and I test it to see how is it going to work. Is it going to sit on there? Is it going to mold? If it doesn't, then I'm going to open up this little space here a little bit with a little snip, so that then it will mold a little better around the bottom. So this lace might work too. So whatever you have, you don't have to use what I have. And the other thing you can do is you don't have to use all the entire lace. You can just put a piece of lace here and let it come out. It's all up to you. So I showed you how to do that, but I'm not going to finish it for you because it's going to get really, really late. Look, see how long it takes? This is about an hour I've been on, but I am teaching you guys at the same time. So now that this is my when I make my second one, then since I put more of the white, I'm going to see if I have anything that looks lavender. Oh, I do have this lavender right here. That might complement that. And I'm going to use these little things in the same way as I did the other. I might put a few more. So I like this green color. It's actually, you can see the green like color here. And the reason I ordered these is because they looked vintage to me. They are not vintage. They're new. They're more of a matte finish. Whereas the others I showed you were shiny, like these pink ones right here. These are shiny, and these are more of a matte. And I felt like the matte, so I'll take them and I'll twist them like whiskers. These would make great whiskers for a cat or a rabbit bunny. Again, do the same thing. And I usually, like I said, I find the spot where I might want them to go. I think I'll stick it in there. Oh, maybe not. I think I'm going to go in here. Yeah, right there by that white. I don't know. Again. There you go. So you can see now it even makes that little bit of lace that's there look like a flower. And then it adds texture and it makes that little hat just so adorable. And I think I've shown you guys enough. You guys agree? The stamen, I don't know. I think I got it online, like, on Amazon or something. Sometimes I'll just look for things. But I might purchase them wholesale and put some in my shop, especially when I start using them and people see the things I'm using. Just that's how I started selling supplies. Is because I started. I first I would just design stuff and share it with the people, and then they started asking me for what I was, where'd you get it? And so I started supplying it. Before I lived closer to a place that was that like a warehouse, and I don't live as close to one anymore, but I still, so right now I'm looking for a space I might want to stick it in. Um, but I still provide things. And so the warehouse is where I used to live. So I'm going to go and take a trip over there probably soon. Really, the reason I don't take the trips is because I don't feel that well all the time. So, like I said, you can see something as inexpensive. Like, I don't think these batches of stamens cost $2. I don't know, maybe 3, I don't know. But they're not very expensive and they go a long ways. They come in colors. So I might look at if I can buy something wholesale and then sell it to you for a similar price, that you might find it at Hobby Lobby or something, then I usually will invest in it. But if I can't, then I don't always do that because it does take a bit of to find it and buy it. So I think I'm about done. Does anybody have any questions? Oh, I do like how that little pop of purple is there. So I got to put a little more because there's only one pop. I'm going to put some on this side somewhere. You have to just search for where it's going to go. And then realize that when I'm all done here, thank you. Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. I hope you guys come up with your own designs, and some of you might go and buy some of my stuff because I like vintage stuff. Thank you. Yes, everybody liked them when I put them showed them on my Facebook page. So those of you who don't know, before I end, I do have an Etsy shop. I'm called Crafty Devotion everywhere. Crafty Devotion on Etsy, on YouTube, and on Facebook. She's on Facebook. I have a group and a page. So in my group is where you can go and you could share your craft projects. I'm gonna basically, you can even share, like, if you make something and you want to sell it, you can say that, but make sure all the transaction happens off my page. So you'll say, if you're interested, message me, or say there's a link in the comments, put links in the comments, so that it doesn't get like too filled up. I want very minimal. I don't want, I don't mind if you guys share and sell and trade your stuff, but I just don't want that to fill up the group, if that makes sense, because I have to keep control of it. So try to keep like most of your links in the comments. Don't put any videos that are, showing them. If you do put a video, you could put it in the comments if you want, because I don't want it shown, your video showing. Um, but oh gosh, how did it get cute? So a little different, but still cute. I'm going to finish working on this a little bit, and but I'm pretty much done, and hopefully you guys understand what I did. I just came up with it. A lot of other people have made hats and stuff, and this will be turning into a larger hat that I would probably put in my Etsy shop. I purchase a pre-made hat and I'll decorate it and put it in my Etsy shop too. So this is Liz with Crafty Devotion. You'll find me on Facebook, Etsy, and I usually post pictures first in my Facebook page and group. And you can ask me questions on Facebook. Also, I'll answer your questions. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I prefer you ask me in the group because I get those messages better than I do on the page. I don't know, they get lost on the page somehow, but I try to find them. But anyways, I will talk to you guys next time. I hope you guys are inspired to make your own. Talk to you guys next time.